David Brent is back. The star of TV's The Office is making his big screen debut in Life on the Road, a mockumentary that follows his efforts to make his musical dreams a reality. When we left David, things were looking good, with Brent meeting a nice girl, standing up to the office bully, and telling a joke that actually raised laughs. But now, more than a decade on, he seems to have regressed, with David still single and now working as a travelling salesman for a company that sells tampons.
Hello, I'm David Brent. You probably know me as the star of the BBC Two documentary The Office. I'm currently a singer-songwriter and a rep.
Proceedings kick off in familiar fashion, Brent touring the office and introducing his colleagues via a series of inappropriate jokes. But Brent won't be tied to the tampon trade, so he takes unpaid leave and sets out on the road, ploughing his savings into what David envisions will be a nationwide tour, but which quickly turns into a handful of gigs in the Reading area. And this is where the wheels fall off, both for David and the movie. Because watching Brent and his band performing a bunch of terrible songs to empty venues is funny at first, but quickly wears thin, and the band itself is pretty bland, making their interactions with David largely redundant, and their pieces to camera often uninspired. The Office was very much an ensemble piece, with Gareth, Tim and Dawn playing just as prominent a role as their boss. But here we pretty much get solo Brent, and it's exhausting watching the man monologue in mean-spirited fashion. There's mention of David having had a nervous breakdown between series and film, but that's just an excuse to make jokes at the expense of the mentally ill. And the hits keep coming, with Brent making jokes about the Chinese, the disabled, the ugly, the gay, Native Americans and the overweight. Seriously, there seems to be a fat joke every 10 minutes, and they're oftentimes more cruel than funny.
I let her keep the t-shirt, so it won't fit her.
The brilliant Ben Bailey-Smith offers some support as aspiring rapper Dom, proving to be a decent enough foil for Brent, but his character is woefully underdeveloped. As for David himself, Ricky Gervais does his usual shtick, combining bravado, pathos and a fair dose of melancholy, even if that famous giggle does get overused as proceedings progress. But the sadness and desperation in his eyes still tugs at the heartstrings. Gervais the writer seems to be on autopilot, however, the storyline repetitive and predictable and filled with jokes you can see coming a mile off. There are some gems, with Brent still king of the bad innuendo, and the film featuring an absolute belter about UB40, but fans of the show will feel like they've seen versions of many of the gags previously. More distressingly, it seems like he doesn't have anything new to say on the subject of Brent, which makes Life on the Road all the more frustrating. The Office was brilliantly paced and structured, and built towards a note-perfect ending that gave closure for both the characters and the audience. But here it feels like Gervais is repeating himself, David Brent making the same mistakes he's made before, and being redeemed in similar but much less satisfying fashion. So while the finale is filled with emotion as we once again get a glimpse of the man's humanity, it doesn't feel earned, meaning that by the end of the movie, rather than rooting for David Brent, you just want him to go away.
What do you two do?
Work in an office.
Do you?